justice for all.
I said gum and I have to read. You didn't read that? Wait till my gum. It's stuck on my teeth and I can't. That's what you read, that's a check.
David.
Alright, here we go. No, they don't want you to read because you have too many questions. Are we ready? Alright. George Abel, 101939. Evelyn Cherry, 93671. Jared Arsenal, 91557. They're all sitting here. See, I read the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Joseph Bird, 69249. Mark Brightman, 57676. Gloria Basella.
Buendia.
Yeah, she's got two names.
51251. William Campbell, 246408. Karen Clement, 99736. Alyssa Anuski, 139334. Edwin Decatur, 81213. Dwayne Demerit, 77957. Kiki Donis Wall, 9212. Pamela Frederick, 5729.
29 or 26?
26, wow, good catch. Ken Gauthier, 75667. Jason Grant, 52578. Andrew Gray, 51669. Andrew Greenbaum, 23718. Joan Isabel, 23133. Kip Kaiser, 59559. Michael Kilrain, 78098. Alba Kazaka, 64417. Julie Labonte, 20260. Thomas Leach, 2117. Heather Lindsay, 57576. Elise McNaughton, 8370. Joyce Miller Boyd. Erin Mitchell, 21815. Rachel Marbury, 5172. Wayne Robinson, 80258. David Roy, 111293. Brenda Silva, 41857. Jeremy Smith, 56060. Kathy St. Leah, 58518. Katerina Tennant, 24334. Carolyn Tosso, 8558. Don Tilby Jr., 26347. Donna Benabonco, 1039.50. Olivia Wall, 4432. Janice Weir, 701.74. Horace Woods, 1396.59. Daphne Ross, 557.24.
For a total of $24,502.42.
Here he comes.
I'll be there. There's two. You got the top piece?
Oh, you can have those, sure. Andy's reading.
Come on, you've been doing this how many years?
I know.
It's like you just woke up.
I lost my gun now.
You aren't working tomorrow, right?
No, we'll be here all night.
Kristen Patch, 44226. Christine Belanger, 65390. Michael Graley, 43298. Mark Turner, 48628. Jeremy Worcester, 49330. Matthew Bergeron, 12433. Keith Culligan, 26687. Joyce Keeble, 27409. Stephanie Lazat, 381. Timothy Leland, 41473. Kerry Mason, 17499.
And one more.
Doesn't sound a lot of those somebody's.
Joyce Keagle's check.
No, one's 274.
Yeah, you gave me a check.
I don't have another check.
No, you looking for?
Joyce Keagle.
She
He
said,
had,
he said
he
Joyce,
said Joyce
In
Keagle.
the end? See Carrie Mason last.
Carrie Mason last, that's right.
Well, I got.
Yeah, but she was, did she get two checks?
No,
No?
27409 is
Well,
about
he said Joyce
four
Keagle.
Did he? Okay, there wasn't an order then, all right.
about 4 from the bottom there.
I didn't hear him say it, so, all right.
All right,
Yep.
Okay.
Total was 28,647.15. What do you have to do? Doesn't have to pick.
It's an easy one, yeah.
It's easy. Any cheese is good.
Unless you want.
No, it's up to you.
Aflac, $698.50. AmeriGas, $467.50. BB Trucking, $7,169.46. Bell and Flynn, $177,786.27. Car parts at Epping, $34.29. Citizens Bank, $213.02. Comcast, $335.96. D. Kimball Lord, $125.50.
Who's that one? Hold on. That one.
Just for context, we put that into it,
Ah, there it is, okay. Gotcha.
Thimble, Seacoast, $210. GM Drilling and Blasting, $12,420. Andrew Gray, $43.03. Hartman Oil, $841.22. Health Trust, $11.54. Kip Kaiser, $492.21. James Michaud, $2,000. New England Barricade, $280.93. Heather Iwerski, $1,024. New Hampshire City and Town Clerks, $20. Nietzsche Automotive, $69.44. Eric.
Good.
Quality Hardwood, $6,500.
I checked it.
Ramon Networks, $2,380. Rockham County Registry, $450. Seacoast Business Machine, $60.36. Starkey Welding, $584. Stratum Tire, $42. Ballot, $160.93. Waste Management, $4,082.41.
61 cents.
61 cents. Daphne Wasp, $24.56.
For a total of $218,081.83.
We have one rec check. PD had 7.5 hours of overtime, and highway had 3. Plenty of deposits, my God. Flew in.
You're at 85% collected.
Wow.
85%? That's pretty good.
Oh, that
It looked to be a good, that's.
when was the bill due?
Did you Friday?
Wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, $3.8 million received this week. I socked away 3.5 of it. They're calling to the bank to see what I can get for a CD between now and year end. A little higher than what we're normally earning, but, we gotta pay the county next week, $602,000, and then one more school payment for $185,000. All I know. We get rooms and meals the last day of the year.
Thank you very much. Okay. There he is.
The glass is nice, no, it's a good color.
I know, I usually wear gray, right?
Yeah, this is a nice change.
Okay. 337 Little Road, Cynthia Tolbert, and this is for a 2-horse sauce. $20 LeBrew, and this is Matt V, and this is electrical for the pool. 13, Route 125, and this is William Dunkerley, and this is for growing rooms for mushrooms.
That seems to be something.
We have 66 Raw Road, Lori Lucigan, and this one is for a generator. Yeah, they're actually putting up like 60 by 100, but it's not a little bit.
Yeah.
So if
A
they
little bit.
get into a small one and wait.
Never seen mushroom rooms, but I've seen mushrooms grow. When people
That's
sell
a deal gravel
restaurant
machine,
food.
right? That's a gravel machine building?
Correct, in the basement.
Yep.
They have a plan for a walk-in cooler, it's on here as well. And eventually, a kitchen and packaging. So we'll have a regular mushroom plant there.
Would be called All Fun Guy.
I think he has.
Nothing but fun guys. The fun guys.
Dunks, mushrooms.
I love this board.
How can you ensure that?
You can't, it's excluded. Old building, the fun guy screeches wet and drive out of any time. What else we got going?
Okay, so this is something that I didn't bring up here for the past month or so, but the state House Bill 1472 basically changed the laws so that now the municipalities have to handle all the energy code information. And basically that's a 5-page form that I always collect when anything new is being constructed, but it's always approved by the state or passed by the Public Utilities Commission. Now the town has to approve it, or i.e. the building official. So, just letting you know,
Is that before it goes to the public utility?
it doesn't.
Do we
Oh, so
charge
it's
it?
just us?
Is there a fee for that? or-
Haven't had really time to investigate it a lot, so I'm gonna find out what's viable. The RSA states that you can have a fee for anything related that the state is requiring you to do, so, yes, in general.
So are you gonna just touch base with the municipalities around us?
I'm gonna
to
see what
they're
everybody
fair?
else is doing and try and stay within suit.
And that's effective when?
So, basically, new houses, finished basements, attics, additions, so almost every permit other than like a pool or putting in a kitchen has those forms, so it's a lot of reviews.
And effective,
It was actually, this letter was sent out the end of September, so,
so November, October, what?
and they just said it's effective. I give you
It's
guys a
effective,
copy.
but we don't know
Thank you
when.
very much for copy.
What's this, is that when it became effective?
That's when the House bill was passed. Sometimes they'll go retroactive, sometimes they move it ahead.
They usually tell you when
It
it's,
is that effective,
tell you when it's
I'm gonna use my
effective.
birthday as the effective date.
Yeah, I've read it a few times, I don't recall them specifying it, they're just notifying us that it's happened. And so now I'm already getting people, it's obviously in effect now because I'm getting people, contractors that are sending them to me instead of the state, so. Did you have a breakdown of the sand salt shed in your mail?
Yes.
I think we saw it.
Okay.
I saw this one.
What you need?
It's in the mail.
Was
basically, all we got left is to put some corner brackets on. We have the material, it's just gotta get cut and bolted in, and I've allowed a little bit of money in this. So this is pretty close to the final figure on that. So we estimated the cost for the two buildings at $64,138. If they were done in-house, being site work done by highway, as much construction, laying block, all that as could be, so on and so forth. We ended up doing an RFP to send the whole thing out, to be done outside, and we got no responses. So I just took it over, bought materials, found contractors, and we have our sheds before the first of the year.
And we did it for the 64?
So if you read the printout, it talks about the real cost invoice, which was $78,566. Then there's a column for things that were added beyond the scope of what we had discussed. And we added just under $7,000 in paving and fill. The building was set back, so we added some pavement to make up some of the difference. We put back walls on the sheds. Originally we were talking about driving through or loading from each side. So the plan changed to having back walls, so that added about another $3,500 to $4,000. Install of the building overall was higher, and then I added approximately $1,800 more in hardware and other items. Then we have $510 miscellaneous. That would be for bolting in the corners and a load of processed gravel to go around the back of the building. So if you took that $12,000 out, you would come down to $66,500 in cost. Still much under the 64 plus 30% for doing outside the house. And project management, clerk of the works, there was $800 for each building. That did not get expended at this point.
Cause you did.
Correct. I haven't billed you yet.
So get this pole put up in the light.
Okay.
Yeah, we can reverse that.
Next. General lighting. So, there's a line that's run out, that was on the old, sand and salt shed. It's in conduit. It is still hooked to the box, and the wires, can be found as they are exposed. So, you can put a pole there and put up a light, and that cost would be about $1,500. These lights are approximately $500 a piece. I'll get that out of the way first. So you're talking about two. If you wanted to extend that down to give more light around the salt sand shed area, brighter light, you could extend it down, plant a pipe, haul new wire through it, and it would be an additional cost of approximately $2,000. Actually, it's $2,100 more, and two more lights. So to light the area up better with 4 than 2. If we build the next equipment storage building this coming year, those lights can come off and go on that building. So it's really, you got close to $2,000 out of that $3,600 that you retain and reuse. The rest of it, just yard lights if you leave them.
So for the 1,500, we'll have yard lights, and then next year we can put it on the building. If we do it that way, 2 lights.
Speak up on this.
Right. So,
Hey Wayne, come on up.
Now, on those lights out there, I don't know if you guys know it or not, but it's pitch black out there. And we have people that come in there 2 days a night, and they go out there, and they're dumping leaves, and they're taking, but there's no lights out there at all. They're out there in the pitch black. It's down at 4:30, it's pitch black out there, there's no lights.
How are they getting in there?
They come in because we're open to the recycle. And I think you better put 2 lights out there, just in case something should happen.
2 poles.
2 poles and 2 lights, enough to light
Two
that
lights
whole
on each
backyard.
pole.
Yeah, 4 lights, you want 4.
I'll put 4 then.
Cause the $1,500 is for 2 lights.
Whatever it is, but I recommend you put some light out there, because you got people in town that is going out there, something happens, a big liability situation going on out there.
Yeah, I always thought, cause I didn't really know, but there was a conduit out there, there was underground electric on the plan, that there was a light out beside the recycling center.
No.
But I found out that no, that's not true. So, he's correct, you don't have any lights out there. It's just depends on how much you wanna shed light on it.
That's true. Nobody else got it but those ones.
You have one now, so,
It's for all 4.
that's what you wanted to do.
I think we
Who's doing wins?
You think the 4 is
I'm very happy
necessary,
with it.
In the beginning, I wasn't sure, but just the simple fact that I know how much the lights cost. So, you know, you're not losing anything, cause you're gonna reuse
Because we're
them.
gonna move it.
You're gonna reuse
So
it.
we need the 4, right? Don't you think?
So you need $3,600 roughly.
That was the,
1,500 and then
that was the
2,100.
email, the quote that I had email.
I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you think Anna Philip have a address or have additions?
Good job on the shit.
Yeah, you did a great job, thank you.
We saved a lot of money, I'm
And
gonna do this, try and pass that information along to the right people.
You don't get it.
I know.
Kip, you're gonna touch base on 73A Scrabble Road?
73A Scrabble Road.
That's the
Oh,
new
yeah.
home and the demo, you want
Yep.
me to go out there and look at it?
Yeah, that building, I had given them 30 days on the permit to take down the building. We're coming into winter, and I think I'd like to extend it to 60 days. I just don't wanna get into a situation, where people can go into it other than to remove, the one person lives there removing their belongings. Cause, I don't believe it to be a safe building.
Are they already occupying the new home?
I'm going to do the final inspection on Thursday,
Okay.
and at that point, they should be able to start living there.
You have to, but they've been living in the old home right now, right?
As far as I know.
So probably have to give them some time to get out of that. So do you want me to inspect it like next week? Cause if I post it and we pull the
You can-
occupancy on it,
Sure, but as soon as I do, as soon as the other one's occupiable,
then we can.
I would say within a week or so, you'd wanna get out and do that. It'll take 30 days at a minimum for them just to get the asbestos and all the different, paperwork back from the state.
Okay. And why do you feel it's not safe to be inhabited right now at this point?
I haven't been in, but I've been around the outside,
Okay.
and there's virtually no roof, there's virtually no floors.
It's red.
Okay.
I don't know that there's any running water in it,
I don't think there is.
and so on.
But somebody's been living in it.
Yes. Yes.
We reached out a year ago to see if we could assist, and were denied.
Oh, let's do that. I remember that, okay. Alright, so you wanna reach out, cause I get permission to go look at the property. So you're gonna look at the new home on Thursday. And then we'll try to set something up, see if they'll give me access to look at it next week. And we'll go from there.
Can you schedule?
Yeah. Good deal. Anything else?
That was it. Pretty sure that was it.
Thanks for all your hard work on the shed, I appreciate it. You did a great job on the shed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kip.
Wayne, did we get any,
No gravel yet.
oh, it didn't come? Okay. should have sent a PO quicker.
And I'm gonna have the chief come up with Ian, please. Did I say it Matheson?
Correct.
He's the new ACO officer.
I'd like to introduce Ian Matheson, he's, going to be our new ACO.
So yeah, hey Bob. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too.
Same day, but it's
Nice to meet you. Karen.
Nice to meet you.
Bill. What's up, Bob? And we have Phyllis, and then we have Andy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And then I can go through the crowd. Alright, so this is 220. Okay, and then with, do I have a second?
second?
All in favor?
What was it, what?
This is an appointment slip.
Oh, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Does he start right away to be trained first? What's the deal?
It's gonna start Monday with
Monday?
paperwork and issuing the new equipment.
Yeah, we'll do the, because we gotta go to non-public, so we'll do the highway,
Mm-hmm.
then we'll do your budget,
And then I can bring
and then we
Ian
can
down.
go to the non-public.
Yes,
Yep, okay,
sounds good.
so we'll do that.
Shall I take that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bring him down.
Do you want to make a
Yeah,
motion?
instead of going to
Yep.
No, that's what's in the okay?
Thank you, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
You doing now?
We're gonna do the highway.
Highway?
Come on, Wayne.
Wayne, just say yes.
I'll probably get one in there. No, we're gonna ask for You gonna bring the agenda tonight? No? They come in and complain.
I'm here tomorrow. We have nothing to do.
Yeah, Wendy.
I'm busy tomorrow.
Oh. Nice. For 4 hours, you're busy, you have like 10 minutes?
All day.
Is this budget, is this actual spent as of September? Is it- So he's going. Okay. So is that gonna be all right?
How did we open? No, we're not over.
He's asking 10,000 less. Next year. He's got 160. He's asking 10 less. He's asking 10 less for salaries. You're asking 10 less for salaries next year.
Well, it all depends what you guys vote on here tonight, I would say.
What's that, what's the 10 from?
Take this divided by 9 and multiply it by 12 months. Comes to 140. Yeah, it'll be fine.
You get this first.
I'm telling, I don't understand that, but if he's got 164
On my,
this year.
on my regular budget, Dave, on the one that I had, I brought in, you guys wanted me to hold off, there was another full-time guy on there that did
Oh,
come in.
okay.
That's why
Because
that's,
you're asking 10,000 less for next year for salaries. That's what I'm saying.
So instead of
You're asking
1
less.
As opposed to 164.
yeah, because that, yeah, because you guys wanna, I don't know which one of you, have you already voted on one of these?
No, we haven't voted on it.
Okay, because, I mean, you guys.
Last year, when you had 164,000 for salaries, and this year, only asking, next year, you're asking 154. You're asking 10 less, that's why I was just throwing me off.
Well, if you look at the next few pages, Dave, you'll see that there's several different options.
Yeah, you got 3 options here, you're gonna take, you're gonna remove Dwayne's raise, you're gonna remove my bonus. And, let's see, that's one option. The other option option is just taking Dwayne's raise out, and you're gonna, the other one is remove Dwayne's raise, and also remove Wayne's bonus and add 6% to COLA. I don't know
I didn't see all these sheets, okay.
which one you guys are
The
voting for.
beginning of it is the original proposal.
Right, okay, all right, I didn't see all these sheets, all right.
And it depends what, the only figures that have changed is salary, FICA, and retirement.
And this is insurance, is this what this is?
That's the insurance, yeah. That was from the original packet.
Okay.
That's if you only remove one's increase and move one's bonus alone.
It's still $12,000, I don't.
And then this is the bottom line, so this is 541 compared to 552.
So 552, and 543, and then 544. The 544 is bringing bonus and added 1.6 on it. Which is the one for?
So that $8,000 bonus would make this 160 then?
Yes.
So,
Okay, actually, that's what you do,
so the last proposal is where we max out his salary, right? With the salary range.
That's based off of the average salary that was
What
on
was
the
that, 65
65.
and change, or?
It bumps it up to,
So it's only up $3,000,
That's what I would say.
right?
65 by 68.
65, 968, 76 would be the,
Well, depends on what you want.
But that's, yeah, that depends what.
that's the salary max on the position.
So the front page is what
Was originally proposed.
Wayne's proposal is.
which is 2,000 under, okay. Yeah,
Which is the 554. And then the second proposal, 543, is that right?
552.
And then we have the last one, is 543.
We're gonna go over this line by whatever, we're just gonna discuss what the.
I'm looking at the one for the 544,055.82, which caps out Wayne's salary at the max of the position, which is 65,968.76 is the salary.
I guess the board has to first determine how you wanted to interpret that warrant article amendment from 2018 and the intent of the 23,630
It wasn't a warrant article, it
was
was
the amendment.
There's an amendment.
amendment to the budget.
And
So which one are you looking at again?
Last page.
I'm looking at
He's looking at the last page.
the last page, which gives him, caps him out at the one, the position increased over what the max in the position was last year by 1.67%.
Well, there is no max.
Or
That
whatever
is the average of
the-
what
The average of what,
The state,
the average of what that position.
the state of the position paid.
but be careful saying max, because we don't have a max.
Yeah, whatever that position pays is 65,968.76. According to the numbers that we get from the state.
But where did that number come from? That was just an average you took from different,
So that's the average from the towns that participate in the New Hampshire Municipal Wage and Salary Survey.
but then again,
So it's
can't,
the average of what they're getting paid now, but, I mean, there's a lot of variables to it.
but I don't see how we can actually do that when, I know people say they go to the town meeting, there's a discrepancy, but if people voted to pay him what his line item was, that's what he should be getting, whether he gets a bonus or not. He should be getting that 72, whatever. That was the will of the people last year to pay him that kind of money to do the job. And he took part as a bonus and part of his salary, so.
Right. But if I
indirectly,
have
he's still
a-
entitled to that $72,000.
But if I have a position that, if I have somebody that gets, you know, I can
Yeah.
vote to give somebody $100,000, but if the position only pays 65,000, then why would I
Who
pay $100,000?
who made what that thing was? We went around and saw what every road agents were getting.
Mhm.
The people in this town want him to make so much, so I mean, He was given that, you
People-
can't take it away from him, that's
the
what he's
whole-
entitled to get.
When that was presented at the town meeting,
I was there, I understand that, but,
and that was because they said, and the person that got up and made the proposal
right,
said, he lost $17,000 because he
Sure.
retired from the chief. He didn't lose $17,000, he retired. But the townspeople voted at that time
to give him that money.
to give him that extra $8,000
So he's
above and beyond.
he's
I
entitled
am
to
not
do it again.
entitled, because I can't hold next year's town
Well, then-
responsible for what they voted.
But they wanted him last year to have that as his yearly salary last year, and you can't take it
That was
away.
last year's salary, not yearly salary.
But you can't take it back.
I can't
You,
commit.
you've got no reason to not to give him that money, it's 72, I'm just.
I can
He's entitled
because
to
the
that.
It
budget
should be
is
a
limited
salary,
to
it should be in his
65.
salary, not a bonus.
It should be the whole salary, shouldn't, that bonus thing is what threw out of whack. He should just, even though it looks like he's overpaid for his position for the other towns, that's what they wanna pay.
But he is overpaid if I pay that position
That's what
because.
the people's will at town meeting.
But I can't.
But they're
as we
willing to
found-
pay him that.
Yeah.
As we
They'll
found
do it
out from the
again this year.
attorney, we
They'll
can't
do it again
burden
this
next
year.
year's people by what this person's, by
Well,
that
but
board's
that's what they
meeting.
wanted to pay him, that was brought up, nobody argued the point, they all said, great, let's give it to him. That's his entitled salary, in my boy, that's his entitled salary, they want him paid that, that's what he should get. That's the way I'm looking at it, and you can't have the guy not get the money, they gave it to him last year, he's entitled to it, he should either put it in the budget, make his salary way out of whack, but that's what they wanna pay him. That's the way I look at it,
So if I decided I wanted to waive your
if you get the
paying
vote,
your taxes for your property, then
If
if
you
that
get the
past
vote-
1 year, you should never have to pay it
if
again.
town meeting votes, they don't have to pay tax, hey, whatever. Well, you know, I'm just saying, but you can't take somebody's, livelihood, he changed the whole thing, he
We're
went
not
on,
taking the livelihood.
but he did, he went on salary,
It was,
so he could get overtime, you can't cut him out,
he's still on salary from 65,
Yeah,
9,
that's all right.
68, 76.
the will of the people was to give him the other money, that's what it was, whether it's out of whack, or other towns are getting, he's entitled to that, for the board of town meeting last year.
To overpay him by $8,000.
That's what they want, that's what I'm looking at, so you guys can do what you want, I'm just saying that. I'm not, I'm not the Chuck,
I
I'm
agree that he
jumping in
should,
there.
I think that
you know.
he should get it in his salary, I don't think it should be a bonus, it should be in his salary, that's what the people wanted.
That's what I'm saying, too.
And if you
whether
take it
it's,
away from them, they're gonna do
But I
it
think
again
if you
this year.
have a position that pays, the going rate for that position is 65, 9, 68, 76, why would I pay somebody more for that
The people's
position?
will, it's
That's
the
what I'm saying,
people.
yeah.
That was the people's will at that meeting, but it's not the people's will indefinitely.
Well, listen,
And I have an issue with entitlement. Nothing's an entitlement.
well,
The market says that
I
the
wouldn't-
position would pay this, not pay this. So why would I continue to pay this when the
because
market
the people
conditions
voted
here?
it at a town meeting.
I'm troubled by the seeming burden of putting that burden on subsequent boards. So you can't really burden a board that's not in existence by what happened. However, I hear what Dave is saying as well, and if the town votes to give anybody a bonus or an increase in whatever it is, I don't know that we're not tied to doing that. Maybe we bring it up again at the town meeting. My suspicion is that the town would probably do the same thing next year as they did this year. I don't know. So sort of on the horns of a dilemma, can you obligate another board going into the future for what happened in the past? I don't think you can. I don't think we're able to do that. But if they voted to give an increase in the highway budget of $8,000, I think we're probably obligated to go forward with that. I don't know. I'm just talking out loud here. I don't know that you can just say, well, that's too much.
We're gonna
Yeah,
continue
you
to
might not
pay.
like it, but that's what the people voted.
Well, I don't think you continue to pay over and above with the position.
I don't think that
calls
has
for.
anything to do with it.
I do.
Well,
Why wouldn't,
I disagree.
why
So,
wouldn't
I mean,
you
that's-
why would you agreeably pay more for something than what the position pays for?
But we don't have a pay scale for what a position's worth, and just because New Hampshire Municipal says, if the people voted, they wanted him to make that money.
So if we decided we wanted to pay somebody $100,000 for the position, if we wanted to overpay for it, you'd be okay with that?
If that's what.
You'd be okay with overpaying?
We didn't decide though.
We didn't
Right.
decide, the townspeople
But I
voted
think,
it at town meeting.
for us having a fiduciary responsibility for the town, looking at the budgets, we have some from the state that gives us a guide what that position would be.
Yeah, but that's not the point. I think the point that you're missing, Robert, is the people at town meeting voted this. They don't care what the position.
Then the other thing we could do is we could ask, you know, again, if the town wants to give them the bonus. Then you put it back to the taxpayers to make that decision, make the bonus, or to give him above and beyond what the going rate is for that position. But I think the going rate for the position is the 65,968.76.
I think if you take it away from him, knowing the townspeople as I do, it'll be back there, you'll have a storm of people back there at town meeting again.
But I think we also owe that to the townspeople to make that decision. That would be my thought.
All right, that's, everyone can have an opinion.
I mean, if somebody wants to give me a proposal for what you wanna make, what you wanna recommend, then it's fine, or if there's any more discussion on it, we can discuss it, but what's your thoughts?
First, I wouldn't call it entitlement.
Well, it's because I said I don't like the word entitlement. David was using entitlement. I have an issue with the entitlement word because I think it's
Well,
not really an
entitled and
entitlement.
entitlement are two different things.
Right.
I'm entitled to normally make the same thing I made this year that I make next year, not less.
No one's entitled to make the same amount you make next year than you did
I've
this
never
year.
worked a job that I took a pay cut without leaving that position.
Right, but that's,
I've never.
you're not entitled to that, you're just,
Correct.
you're allowed to make that. There's a difference between entitled and entitlement.
Right, I agree with you. But the word entitlement means
Well,
a
that's why
different thing. in
that's
this.
why I was saying when David brought up entitlement, I don't like the word entitlement.
What's the difference between 65,978.56 and the bonus?
That's on page 2, I believe.
73,966.
7,000?
73,968.
Oh, that's the whole thing, that's the whole
If you
thing.
do,
That's page
well, if you
2.
go 65,968, which is that half.
You guess what the difference is between the salary of 64 and the difference was?
That's on page 2. Right?
69,6104.
69 what?
So what is he making this year?
He's making 1248.65.
Huh?
No.
Oh, what is he making right now for a year?
Yes.
What's his salary for the year?
72,929.80
With the salary?
with the bonus.
With the bonus.
72,9.
929.80.
And what's 3% of that?
This is the bonus, right?
No, that's not.
See, it should have been just
Oh,
salary.
just total.
I mean, that's, like,
75,117.69.
No, minus the 65, whatever the last budget is. You see where I'm going?
So 69, 71, 69. So you add $200 if you add 3%. So just
There you
add-
go, there's your difference, you percent raise.
Well, no, what I'm trying to get at is we can go with Bob's max and then make up the difference in a warrant article to the town of, do we wanna permanently, do we wanna increase the highway superintendent or whatever we wanna call the position's salary, this amount of money?
Well, you know,
Yeah.
that's,
I think that's a good option.
seems reasonable, it seems fair. Here's the bottom line.
So he gets a 3%
The town-
raise plus the bonus that we
Whatever,
out there.
however we figure it, but the town has the ultimate vote.
Right.
And that vote is that whether we get reelected or not is how they vote. They have the ultimate say. And they
And
have
I'm
the
fine
ultimate
with putting
say,
it before the
you know,
voters.
we could say this year, look, we're gonna only give them, you know, $5,000. And the town would say, are you crazy? Of course they would say that. But I think
think
your
Wayne would
approach
say
is
you're
reasonable. Well,
So
Wayne would probably say that's crazy.
126, you got another 1.4.
So, I think that's a reasonable approach, is to give them the max salary.
The perceived max.
The perceived max, the average max that we've come up with, the 65,968, and then a separate warrant article to see if the town wants to vote appropriate the additional
The
money.
additional percentage to bring them up to the,
Yeah. And it's almost like we're
letting the
we're
town make the
deferring
decision.
against the town, which ultimately, they're the ultimate
They
legal
made the ultimate
authority. They
decision
made the-
last year, so I would defer to let them,
Make the decision
Make the
again.
decision again
And
this
that relieves us that relieves us of the responsibility of burdening future boards with that financial burden.
and we're still keeping the salary in line with what the position pays.
Right.
What the going rate of the position
What the
is.
municipal salary wages has come up. I think that's what do you think?
I agree with whatever which way you want, but I'm not gonna go against it.
No, I understand what you're saying.
No, it just
But
lets
so-
the town make the
So
decision, not
just so
us.
you can understand what we're proposing here is to give you
So this is
the
including
average
3%
maximum
raise on his
amount that
salary,
highway
and then this
agents,
is the
road
difference
agents
between
get
what
in
he
municipalities
was
in the
this year
area,
and what
okay, or
this
in
year
the
was.
state even.
If you take this
Plus,
65 plus
a
3%
separate
plus
warrant
1%.
article to see if the town will give
That's
you the
what's-
bonus money you got last year.
So this would bring,
It would bring his, it would bring his salary to
Does that
this,
sound
and
fair
then
to
we would
you?
make a warrant article for an extra 65,3906.
just like it and just.
So how much would that do?
Oh, that's okay.
But we have to put it before that, because they voted last year, we have to give them the opportunity. At least that would be my thought.
So the problem I had with this whole thing was that I don't wanna encumber future boards with financial burden that they didn't have a part of. And if the town decides that's what they wanna do, I'm okay with that, I don't have a problem with that, they're the ultimate legal authority. When we have a town meeting, that's what it's all about.
So will it always be a bonus or will it go in the salary? How's, I mean,
Well, I think.
I would propose the warrant article to be written that it's made part of the salary.
salary, okay, yeah,
And then once they make that decision, it's fine, cause last year was just added, to add the money to the budget. The intent was to add it to his salary, so that's why we gave him the bonus.
Well,
Well, I thought
if
he
you
chose
remember, we
which
had
We did, we gave
discussions
three
with
different
him about
options.
what
Gave
his
him three
options
different
were.
options, right.
Because adding it to his salary has tax implications down the road. Okay,
well, even if he gets a bonus, it's a tax.
yeah, it's different.
Adding it to his salary, higher.
In retirement.
Right.
So we, you need to be clear on whether we're gonna pursue that or not.
So we would bring it up to 66,390.74, and then we would do a warrant for 7,775.18, because that would include for the FICA and
Where did you get the 66,394?
she added the
That's
three.
his regular
What is it?
salary,
66,394,
that's
that's 3 for,
1248.65 for 13 weeks. And
That's a
then a
3%
3% raise for 39 weeks.
So it gets into 66,390.74.
So are we automatically given a 3% raise as well? Because I have a number of 65,968. It's
65,968.76 was what the New Hampshire Municipal says, this is what the going rate is.
And then we're adding 3% to that?
Well, that was that had a 1.6% increase over last year's average
Okay.
recommended
So that was
wage.
2019.
So it's basically adding a 1.4% to make it 3% total. Because if it went up, if the 65,968.76 was 1.6% higher, I added 1.4 to get my 30%.
66,394. And then just so I know what we're talking about here in terms of numbers, so that would be the proposal for Wayne's salary for 2019, and then we're gonna put a warrant article together to ask for how much.
With the FICA and New Hampshire retirement, it would be 7,775.18.
and that would bring the bottom line up to what, if he gets that?
Well, that would be a warrant article, we'd have to do the bottom line would be what we vote today. The warrant article would be to add the 7,775.18 to that would be calculated in separately.
769. That's, wait.
Well, this 775 is FICA and stuff in it, so it's not all, that's not all money.
74,160.
Yeah, cause last year, I think the warrant, or the change on the floor was what, 20,000? I think it was 20,000 to the budget? So we had a-
I thought it was 23,000.
23,000?
23,630.
23,630, cause we had to factor in what the FICA and social security and all that other stuff was part of that package.
Let's be clear on what we wanna do. We wanna make this permanent salary increase. That has retirement implications as well. And it's a 3% increase over what we paid last year.
So that puts the position at, if we did that, that would put the value of that position at.
That's a lot of money.
669,390.
Yeah.
66390.74 plus 7775.
Well,
No, this doesn't include taxes, it's this plus this.
we're gonna give them the
Plus what?
option of staying here. Yeah, I think so too.
39.06. So that's gonna bring the position to 80,000.
No, you have to take that back. Counted this
Wait a minute,
69 twice.
I'm so confused.
How much did I pay 80,000?
Because I gotta factor in if that
Yeah.
bonus goes in, I wanna figure out what the salary would be
No,
worth.
that brings it to the 72,929.80.
72,929.80, and then this would be the warrant article, or is that included?
This is the warrant article because this is the,
So this includes the warrant article?
that's just the two salaries.
72,929
This doesn't
is what I
include the
got.
FICA and the New Hampshire retirement.
That's
But
what
the
that-
warrant article would have to include those expenses.
So the warrant article would be
So
for.
the warrant article would be for 775,18.
That's what he would make, total.
Next year, if the warrant article went through.
This would be his gross pay
Oh, okay.
minus, and then
Gross.
you have to.
And then we have to
expenses.
add the expenses for all
On top.
of
Just
this.
figure out the warrant article.
So that would be gross.
And what did you make
That's
this year?
what you're saying, yeah.
That's what he made this year.
Yeah.
The 72?
Yep.
So, yeah. That's what you're trying to get him back to, right? Not.
Well, no, because it would be more.
It's gonna
Plus
be more,
3%.
it's gonna be,
Right. So the difference,
Even with the bonus stuff. So the bonus plus 3%?
whatever he made this year,
Yep,
whatever he made for his salary this year,
yep,
what do you got?
plus 3%. Yeah.
which should be,
Base salary.
should be in this 152.47.
Except we're trying to add
47, right?
3% bonus, 3%.
And then I took the increase, and I deducted it out of the 8,000.
So you're trying to do 3% increase to what you
Or
made
do you want
this
the
year,
warrant article to include the 3%?
plus the 8.
Where are you trying to end up, right where he is today?
No,
right?
because it's a new year, so technically,
So-
if we're saying he performed like every other town employee that we gave a raise to, he should also be eligible for a raise.
Ridiculous.
That's way too much money.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
So then the bonus would be, so then the warrant article would be for 8,000. If there were
So
1,000
we would bring the,
plus taxes.
so if you did 3%, it would
Yeah.
be to bring his salary up to 66,877.69, this is base salary, and then you would play
No,
the
it's
8,000.
6,390.74, that's the 3% right?
And then, so if you did that, then it would be 74,877.69 for that position. If he gets the
You
$8,000.
should just give him what he proposed, because you're spending more money now.
Yeah,
What
we're
if
spending
we,
more.
what if we just did what we did last year and just do the warrant article for what last year's increase was and leave everything else like it is, without doing all this complicated.
What do you mean, the 8,000, you put the $8,000 bonus in,
Yep.
And his
so
goes
put
down.
the salary at the 64,929.80, and then put the 8,000 into a warrant, is that what you're talking about?
So this is actually
Yeah.
fairly easy,
Yeah,
because
just do the salary.
Wayne alreys has a proposed budget of what he wanted to get paid next year.
Yeah, so let's just, why don't you just
So,
put them on back?
Which is on page what?
One,
One page, okay.
Which page?
Which page?
one, who knows?
No, 'cause we have the other
Which
one.
includes the bonus, right?
So we put the $8,000 into a warrant article plus
And the rest
taxes.
You want this page right here, you see right here.
So you leave, so you just put the bonus $8,000, but that would have to come off of this 5.
Oh, like number 4, right, oh, you got it right here.
Right,
That's That's it.
So we're gonna,
Right here.
Oh, okay, that's
That's
right.
what they voted.
so it's the 552,
So it's 64.
643.
Well, it's 64,929 salary for 2019 plus the 8,000.
What's that bonus of 8,000? That's what he put in.
So it's this
And
one.
the bonus, the 8,000 bonus would go as a separate warrant article
And you're still gonna
to the
do-
town.
Well, does this figure
Right
the
here.
points in it
That's
too?
what you
Yes.
got. You have to
Yeah.
do it that way.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So why don't we just discuss that one?
And you'll do it in April and September? The 2 bonus payments?
Yeah.
Like what we
If
did
it's
last
Well, I
time.
need to know, cause New Hampshire
If it's-
retirement changes
if it's-
July 1.
If it's approved, yeah,
So we would do the 8,000.
April, half in April and half
Okay,
in
so
September.
that would be a warrant article for 8 grand.
Right.
We would have to, in the warrant article, we would say it would be paid out in 2 equal increments.
April and September.
So then it just depends on, do we go with the removal of that 3% for
Yep.
the other employee?
Yep.
So that would be page, get lost it. One,
That's a warrant article for $9,514.
Want the next page after that one?
7.
Confused a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she has to add
Go on the next
FICA
page
and,
after that one.
she has to add FICA and stuff to it, that's why.
The bonus and.
Yeah.
She wants this page, that's the
We
only.
still have to pay,
This.
we still have to pay social security and stuff on it, so the
So.
warrant article would be for the 9,514.
But we would have to pull out, cause that,
8,000, right?
well, that insured,
9,000.
That includes the
those figures are already included into
This
the front budget, so
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to remove 9,514 from this 5.
this whole budget has to be rewritten, and not on the fly, or else we're gonna miss the numbers.
Okay.
We just need to know what the board's goal is, so Karen can do the correct numbers, or else we're gonna miss something.
That complicated enough,
I am, but we don't wanna have to reopen the budget again.
129,
You see the 10,000, you got 5,000 retirement, 5,000 health insurance.
or
There's your 11,000 difference in it.
9514.
It's right here, you can see it.
All right.
Retirement's up 5,000,
So,
and the other one's up.
Based on what I'm looking at, we just have to make a decision. Do you want to remove that one person's raise that we talked about that's out of performance that we had to address? If we do that budget, it's gonna be 543,129.29, and then we would do a warrant article for the 9514.
543, 129.12.
129.29, because then I'd have to do a warrant article for that $8,000 in the
We
FICA.
can't talk about it on numbers until Karen does the numbers, we just have to decide what we're doing.
Okay. What's the board's thoughts on that proposal that removes that increase?
I'm in favor of that.
Do our, what do you call it? What's the thing you do on,
Performance?
to then show that he has not performed to where he should get one? Do we have the paperwork to back it all up?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's been documented.
as long as you have it documented, I mean, I don't wanna just be saying no, we don't have anything to back it up with. You can back it up with stuff.
Option 2 plus a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're talking 543, 129
29.
is the bottom line.
Well, we want her
Plus
to,
the.
we need her to
No, I
confirm those
understand that, but
numbers.
if it changes here or there, we can certainly look at it again next week, but.
29 is what I have right now.
It's,
This one.
The other sheet. It shows 552 as the bottom line.
that's why we're gonna go to one sheet, we're not gonna vote on
I gotta go
it.
back one more sheet, Phil, I think it's right here.
No, she's on the right
I'm
one.
on the right page,
Yeah.
but mine says 12, so I don't know.
543,
No.
129.
The one I have is this
Oh,
one.
no,
No,
that's
you're,
different.
you're on a different.
Well, you're on the wrong
You're on
page.
the
Choose this page here.
The one before that. There you go.
That's what we,
That's the one we want right
Okay.
there.
that's
I'm
what
on
we
the
want.
wrong page, wait a minute.
That's why we're gonna go to one page
Right
before
here.
we vote on anything.
What page do you want? Can we do that the
Oh,
same?
no,
No,
here,
because
that's
it's taking
one,
bonus
this
out
one,
too.
this one is.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
No,
This-
because we
this
gotta.
one.
But-
The bonus is
Yeah.
gonna be
It
one.
has this bonus out and this.
Oh,
And then,
Oh,
but
okay.
does this,
Then all
does
you
this
have to do
include the
is-
FICA and everything else?
Yeah, and then all
Okay,
you have
that's
to do
another-
is
that's another
have
page.
Oh, okay.
Warrant article.
warrant article.
You're right.
You're right. Phyllis, you're right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Bob, I couldn't hear you.
I said, Butch, you were right.
Thank you.
How you doing, Butch? I didn't call on you, but thanks.
All right, so this will be in one thing.
So, do we want to do that, and then do the warrant article?
Yes.
Yes.
You have to do the warrant article, you have to do that one, that's.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion to accept this 543, 129, 12?
Wait a minute.
No sense.
No sense. So we do 129,
So we're gonna let the people determine whether he gets the raise they wanted to give him last year.
the bonus, yes.
Correct.
Or the increase in that.
So if they approve it, it's town meeting coming, and then it'll be on forever.
Well, we have to figure out
No,
how
I
to
think
write
We're
the
gonna be
warrant
every year,
article.
keep doing it again.
Then you gotta write the warrant article to say that we want to permanently add this to it, or whatever. I don't
To
know.
his salary.
Can you
I
do that?
don't think it
We
should
have to
be a
find out.
bonus, but I don't know.
We gotta figure out how
So
to.
he's still getting his base plus 3%,
Obligating future boards.
right?
Yeah.
He's getting his base he got this year plus his 3%.
He's getting his,
And the bonus is gonna be.
he's
on
getting
one
what he's
line.
asking
Takes the
for, right?
3% out.
So how he
Yeah.
calculated
It's
it, and
just-
then we have the,
It's just status quo.
I mean, how
We're
can you
staying
give
with the
somebody a raise
normal.
and then take it away? I mean,
well, that's where we're gonna put it
So
for
you're-
the taxpayers to see if they wanna pay that
asking for
above and beyond normal
64.29.
position pays.
right.
Plus the-
Plus the bonus.
Same with what it was
Plus
last
the
year.
bonus.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Wayne's salary would be 64,929.80, and then whatever the outcome of the warrant article would be.
For the 95-14. And then out of that 95-14, he gets paid $8,000 because the rest goes to taxes in New Hampshire.
Retirement.
Does that work?
I don't like it because he's not gonna get this over last year.
No, he does.
It's like he's taking a pay cut.
He does if he
No,
gets,
he's getting.
as long as the taxpayers agree to that.
Wayne's
Again.
getting what he asked for in his budget that.
But he has to have the
together.
bonus also be included, which we're not
He
letting him
did,
do.
and that's gonna be a decision at town meeting, whether the town wants to approve it or not. That precludes.
So I understand what you mean, I just, okay.
So, I don't think we can I don't think we can encumber future boards.
All right. So do I have a motion for 543, 129, 12?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
have a nay on that.
Ivan A?
Aye, the nay?
I have a nay. I have a.
So 4-1.
How can he be an aye, the nay?
I said I be nay.
Oh,
I be nay.
It's like I am, but I'm against.
I am, but no, I'm not for it. I don't mind the board, I just don't think it's right. I was-
Well, that's the one we just.
And then we'll write a warrant article for,
Okay.
so then what we'll do is we'll do a warrant article for the 95-14,
so you get to.
so that the taxpayers can make that decision at the meeting. We'll bring that up at the meeting.
And this is
I don't think these are reflected.
a $2,000 increase from last
Yep.
year.
I'll get what the bottom line is.
Well, we should care about the bottom line. So we gotta pay.
Okay.
Do you want to?
Oh, that was
Well, we have to do
Anything
the
else?
Wasn't bad.
culverts. Do we wanna do that? Since he's up here,
What's that?
we
What
should
else
probably
do you have
address the
for-
notes on the culvert.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
the
okay.
culverts, yeah.
Since he's here, we gotta address that.
Yeah.
So the note
This will be the easy
says,
part.
the abutment on the Prescott Road culvert, Steve Cummins was out and said it was a hazard. He suggests installing curbing to slope it down.
So on the approach, install curving so that if someone hits it, they come up on an incline instead of just.
Cause the bridge sticks out that much past the guardrail.
On both.
both
The
sides.
guardrail guys were gonna look into that,
Should've
they
put
were
the
gonna
guardrail
check
on
with
more.
their, I don't know what happened, but they saw that too, and they were gonna check with their boss down there for something, whatever they could.
Was
do.
that just how they were engineered, or?
That's how they're engineered. Everything was engineered and they went right by the plant, and that's the way they came up. He even brought me aside, he even showed me that. It was that's just how they were engineered.
So I'm thinking if somebody's plowing, they're gonna hit that and take out the whole culvert.
Or the bridge.
where it sticks out enough that if the plow blade hits that, it's gonna do serious damage. And you can't just leave those
Yeah.
cones there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
No.
see the cones, but when it snows, they're gonna be buried, right?
How do you protect it, I guess, when you're.
Guardrail should've went,
The guardrail should have been out to protect the whole culvert. It should have been far enough out that you wouldn't,
it's a guardrail.
Yeah.
yeah, so
Or
they
well,
need to
stop people
fix
from
that.
going over too, but.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, if you hit that barrier, you're going over the guardrail.
Yeah, you are, yeah, you're gonna bounce up and go right over. You're gonna end
No,
up
they
taking
can't,
a swim.
they can't move the guardrails out, there's no
No, not the way
extensions they can put?
that's the way they were built, the bolts are set in, so the guardrail came, the rail, the post is set on there, and then the guardrail sits on the post, and that's why they were made that way, because that's the way it was on the pump.
There's no bumpers that they can put to bump them out?
They got them on there. They're already on.
So they
there.
already
Can
have
they
bumpers on?
extend those
They have-
guardrails
they have
out?
it on the rails, they're on the inside, they're all already on there. Yep.
Butch, I saw you raise your hand.
I'm just curious, Steve Cummings is our road engineer, correct? Did he review the plans that these things were built to before he inspected them and said they're not correct?
He just was driving through town on another project. These were engineered through a private engineering company, not by Steve
Is that the
Cummings.
boy
But-
king?
That was through.
My question is, we had this big construction project, we have a town engineer, and Wayne's telling the meeting right now that these things were built to the plans. And I'm just asking, did the highway engineer inspect these plans before everything was built?
No,
No.
it was
We
all
had
through
an
Du Bois and
engineering
Kings was the state, or the engineer that was hired, that we hired to do that.
So they weren't inspected by the person that's inspecting it now?
Correct.
But we also didn't build the road to plan the way it was engineered,
Cause it got
because the
changed.
town meeting changed it. So we
Correct,
took-
but
we
but
took an
Wayne, we're
engineered
talking
plan.
specifically about the culvert, that this was installed per the
Exactly how
plan.
it sounded. Yeah, so it got changed at the town meeting,
The culvert, the guardrail got changed.
the road got
The road
changed.
design.
Correct,
The
but
road design got changed.
maybe I'm not hearing right. Wayne's saying this guardrail was installed
Per
to the plan.
engineering
For the
design.
plan, right?
We didn't have our highway engineer look at the plan before the project went forward. And now the guardrail as installed per the plan is faulty.
According to the town engineer, yeah.
So does the engineering firm that did this for us have any culpability to give us a correction as opposed to the town having to absorb the cost?
Exactly.
No, because we didn't go with the plan.
Yeah, we went with a different plan at the town meeting.
I'll ask one more time, then I'll stop.
Yeah.
Did we build the guardrail to the plan? I know some of the road changed,
The
but
plan was changed, so if we abandon the plan, if you abandon the plan and you go with something different, there's gonna be no culpability on them because you're not following their instructions.
and the last comment I'll make before you can call on Carol, I spent a little bit of time on the planning board. Engineers come in with their plans for the subdivision, and then Steve Cummings looks at the plans. Years ago it was my father-in-law, John Gaynor, that did that to make sure that the plans are going to work, and it just seems like that should have happened.
So you're saying you didn't go with Du Bois' plan. Whose plan did you go with when you put those in?
Bell and Flynn's.
Bell and Flint.
Then you need to contact Bell and Flynn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't they have an engineer on staff?
I think did they have somebody look at it, Wayne? Cause
Bell and Flynn has an engineer, but I don't know
Bell and
if they-
Flynn put in the bridges and stuff, right?
I don't know if they went with that plan. I think they actually went with the plan of Du Bois and King. They had the bridges built with the ones, the whole thing was built with Du Bois and King. Cause I remember seeing their name and they signed it.
But I know we had to have,
Should have it
we
here.
had to reach out to, the state had us reaching out to Du Bois and King, cause didn't they have to sign something for
I think-
Bell and Flynn?
I think the bridges themselves were made on the Du Bois and King.
But didn't
They left it
the
that way.
state require us to reach out to, cause I remember John came in here and talked to us
Well, the
because he
state
had to
is-
reach out to something about the engineering of that road.
That was the sign,
Right,
that was
right.
on the sign off for the
That
wetlands
was-
permit
yeah.
for the two culvert, for the bridges.
That was for the end.
One of them was done according to spec for the Du Bois and King plan, but they were not on site during the installation. That was the one that was done on Memorial Weekend.
I think when
The other one,
when the
which
bridges
they
were made,
changed
they
because
stuck
that
with
was
Du
the
Bois and
escrow,
King's
they had to realign.
So they, Michi Corp changed?
So here's the bottom line. Those culverts
The
are
curb was
not good like they are. We need to find out who it is, whether it's Du Bois or Bell, who's responsible.
Corporation, 'cause
You got three parties involved, you got Michi
Alright.
Corporation, you got the
I don't
Boy
really
King
care
involved.
who's responsible, but one of the three has to fix it, cause we can't leave it like it is, and we need to get it fixed pretty quick, because we're gonna be plowing pretty soon. And I don't wanna be replacing those culverts.
Because someone has
Again,
an
because
accident.
somebody smashes into them, or somebody's driving, smashes into them and goes over the guardrail, and then we're looking at serious liability and perhaps serious injury. That's gotta be fixed. We can't leave it like it is, and somebody has to be responsible for it.
well, ultimately, the road agent is responsible for it.
Then you better give him
Wayne's
$8,000.
I don't know. Wayne's like, here I go again.
How hard would it be to install the sloping curbing over there?
Since that's what he's recommending. Steve Cummins
Steve's-
recommending sloping.
Sloping curbing to slope down the edges.
You mean to cut them off in the
Yeah.
front?
No,
No, no, no, no, he's saying put in a new piece of
Install new curbing
to redirect.
to redirect anybody that might.
Then wouldn't you need to raise the guardrail higher so that it would be?
I don't
well,
know.
no, cause either way, you need to prevent somebody from hitting the concrete.
I mean, they're right directly on the front.
Yeah, they are.
That's not on the back, on the slope, on a thing, they're directly,
I don't know, he must.
they're directly out here like
Should be,
this.
I'm gonna reach out to.
They're on the road, they're not,
Wayne needs to.
Why don't
and
you-
it's only a few inches.
Why don't you reach out to Steve Cummings and see what he's
See
talking
what he's
about on
talking about.
curbing?
I'll see what it's on, I'll try to
'Cause
get
he's-
ahold of, CWS too, cause they came up there and they saw the whole thing when they put it all together, but they said it's engineered that way, that's why they put it together that way. But he was also gonna check on, if there's anything else they could do, put on the front or something to bring it up.
Just
Yeah.
extend it out, that would solve the problem as well, I would think, but.
But I haven't heard back from him, I don't know.
I would definitely reach out to Steve Cummings to find out what his recommendations are for how it should be done, and then we can reach out to Bell and Flynn and, you know, then I would recommend reaching out to John and reaching out to Michi and reaching out
Yeah,
to the parties that approved that
I'll follow up on it.
as part of the installation.
Probably wait.
Somebody's responsible for the design for that. Yes.
I am sure that Steve Cummings is affiliated with Du Bois and King, Bell and Flynn. Why don't you have Mr. Cummings himself contact these
Well,
people?
that's why we have a road agent. He's gonna contact those, because when the road gets installed, that's where we would direct Wayne to reach out to the road
I don't know.
and
I
the
kinda think it-
engineers helping him do the road.
Mr. Chairman, just a question, because I know this Prescott Road project has been quite a thing.
4 or 5
Is,
years in.
is Steve Cummings inspecting the road now before final payments made to Bell and Flynn, or did he come out just to look at this culvert issue, or?
He
how
was
did-
just driving by.
Just driving by.
So there actually has been no inspection of the road by the town engineer?
Not an official capacity.
Not an
He
official,
was not
right.
asked by the board to do that.
So this came up because Steve drove by, saw that the culvert looked dangerous.
Correct.
We'd already addressed some of the concerns that we had about those guardrails before. So now we're just kind of, now Steve had mentioned it, so we're bringing it up.
And just to be specific, the guardrails are part of the contract or deal with
To
Bell
do
and
the
Flynn?
road, right, yeah.
Okay.
And when did they get put in? When did we put the guardrails? Last week? So they just put the guardrails up last week.
When did we come home, you couldn't get home?
That's Monday.
Last Monday?
That's right, 'cause
Yeah.
Andy couldn't get home. The road was blocked off. So,
That's what they do. They just stick it out, they put a piece of curb in front of the guy, and they run it out, it goes along the edge and it catches it.
The whole curve
So if you hit
over.
it, yeah, it's not a big thing.
It's a nice
I'm
visual.
sure they got something.
I'm sure there's gotta be something, it's a matter of touching base with them.
Put a plank out across there, and they'll probably take care of that.
He's gonna
Flex-
put a
it's in a
rail,
flex
put
state,
a
I like
rail,
that.
put a toll rail out
Okay,
there.
alright.
So we
Anything
don't
else
have
on
to
that abutment?
rail.
Anything else on the highway?
Yeah, I got something, Railroad West, you guys know that.
You got it
culvert's
blocked
on-
off, yeah.
Yeah, the road's caved in already, so,
Oh, is it?
about halfway across, so that means that we're gonna have to dig that all up, and we probably won't get to it until spring, because the water's so high.
Do we have signs at the front on Hague Road?
What's that?
Did you put signs at Hague
I'm
Road?
gonna,
Cause I know when I was out there the other day, you had to drive in.
We put
before you
cement
saw
blocks, we got road closed ahead.
Yeah.
We have to leave part of that open because the fire hydrant's down in there.
Yep.
We gotta plow that, and then we also gotta plow the other side coming down the hill because of the houses that are there. So we're gonna have to plow in there, that's why we didn't.
How do you? It's gonna be
We're
tight.
gonna
It's
turn
gonna
around,
be-
we're gonna back all the way out, that's how we're
How are you gonna do that without going in the river?
No, we'll back out, we'll make it.
That's a long
We
backup.
got tighter places than that, we get in and out.
Okay,
Oh my God.
alright,
I hope we don't have to buy it.
okay. I'm good with that. Anything else?
Alright, that's it for me.
Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate it.
This was fun.
And we want to,
ACO budget.
ACO, did you want to address the other things? We want to go around public.
Do ACO and then
And then kill everything else and then go back to the PD and then go with the non-public?
do the two budgets.
And then just have to wait for it. Okay. Alright, we'll do ACO. Behind us. Alright, let's go with ACO.
Also, in front of you, is a worksheet that I put together. There are some revisions on the amendments to the ACO budget as well as the police budget. So, we did some amendments, and we brought it down to 4% increase, and that gives us, well, we've done 8 hours per week for call-outs, and we reduced from $100 to $40 for subscriptions, $40 cost for the Animal Control Officers Association of New Hampshire. That's included in subscription as free training into that, so we were able to bring that down. Reduction in training line from 1,000 to 600, and this should cover the cost of UNH annual training. Reduction in the
Hey,
equipment.
Wayne? I just wanna hear it, and we're here in the back, so.
Okay, sorry.
Thanks.
We combined the equipment and uniform line together to be one line, and we reduced that from 1,200 to 900. Reduction in salary line from $8,553 to $5,917.60. Overall reduction in the initial proposed 2019 budget to amended 2019 budget of $3,597, which gives us a 4% increase from 2018 budget to proposed 2019 budget. And I think that meets your criteria, Mr. Chairperson.
Any discussions?
I think you can reduce it further. I think you can reduce the equipment uniform line to $400, and I think you can reduce the travel mileage from 1,000 to 700. Which would bring the budget down to 9,041.
Why do you think you're gonna take $500 off the uniform budget?
What do you need? Yeah, what do you need? We've already got shirts. Might need a few pair of pants. Most of the equipment that he needs to do his job's already down there.
The coats are on the knowledge, the coat though.
Coat.
I say that's at 500.
I didn't get a coat, I had 2 shirts.
I don't think he's gonna wear your shirts
Yeah, I
or
don't
your
think so.
pants.
There are shirts downstairs in the police department that can be used for animal control. So we don't have to spend a lot of money on uniforms. In terms of equipment, almost everything he needs is already got. There might be 1 or 2 pieces of equipment that would be nice to have, but what he needs to perform the job is already there. In terms of mileage, I don't think he's gonna spend $1,000 a month. That's just my opinion.
somebody.
Well, yeah, I left
4
in
months,
the budget, so that's,
Actually,
and that's,
I think we were over in mileage.
Mileage was $1,087.56 spent.
Yeah, so we were over in mileage on that.
Over in mileage.
And that was still having 3 months, 4 months left.
And there was no uniforms in the budget for last year. Or for this year.
What was the bottom line last year? 15 at one?
7151.90.
And what did we spend?
Up through August.
6804.58.
That was through 9 months.
Mhm.
So we just spent close to 9 probably.
Yep.
Plus, I believe we've taken about average 9,000 in dog licensing.
I could live with 9. Which is why I was just suggesting those as places to reduce. I could live with 9.
Did you want to make a motion, or?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve 9,041.70 for the ACO budget.
I have a second for that, to discuss it, or?
We'll just have to reduce the hours. We'll have to reduce it down to probably 6 hours a week.
I look at that, we asked her, the chief, to bring it within, she's within what we asked her to be, and I have no problem with myself.
Did you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for the
There's a
You
motion on the
gotta-
floor.
Oh, sorry.
But I don't have a second on it.
No, you don't.
Does anybody want to second that, to discuss it, or no? Are you satisfied with not going through the motion, so the motion would carry?
Okay.
So do we have another motion?
I'll make a motion for the 98.41.70.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just think the chief did what we asked her, she brought it in the line. Looks good to me for what she did, looks like it's a true budget.
Okay.
From what I can see, we spent last year and what we're asking for this year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against?
Nay.
Alright, now let's go to the PD budget.
So actually, I'll address Captain Roy's wage increase, which is what was requested of the board last time I was here. And since that point, Captain Roy's requested further increase. So what I've done is this. From the 2017 wage study indicated the average wage for a lieutenant, which would be second in command for an agency of our size. As you see there, is $38.90 per hour average for New Hampshire Seacoast, $38.90 per hour average for lieutenants with greater than 15 years of full-time service on New Hampshire Seacoast, $37.36 per hour average for Rockingham County. It goes on from there. $37.51 per hour average for lieutenants with greater than 15 years of full-time service in Rockingham County. $37.22 per hour for state of New Hampshire average of lieutenants, and $37.78 per hour state of New Hampshire average of lieutenants with greater than 15 years of full-time service. 2018 wage salary study is really, what I've received is just pertains to Greenland PD right now, so I think it's safe to go with the 2017 wage study. So Captain Roy's initial proposed wage increase for 2019 at 5% was $34.80 per hour. So at 5%, he's certainly within what the request would be, an average with a second in command, and even at $36 an hour, he certainly would be within that range.
Is that the only reduction that you need?
Nope, I'll go for the reductions.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll hold my questions until you get to that. That seems like
Okay.
that seems right. So he's getting paid less than a captain would be getting paid. What we have captains in Portsmouth,
yes, Portsmouth, Salem,
Manchester, Salem.
Hampton, the
Getting
larger
paid less
agencies.
So he's getting paid less. Yeah, but as a captain, he's getting paid less than the captains are getting, and he's getting paid less than it seems to be the average rate in 2017.
Right, because we went for second in command.
So,
That's what my research showed.
Yeah, okay, that seems to be a reasonable.
So you feel that that would be in line, the 5%?
That is the 5%.
Yeah, with the 5%, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, $36 an hour actually gives them a little bit more than 5%.
What's that give them for a total percent?
I don't know.
So is that what is
So at 5%,
1096, is it 36?
so at 5%, he'd be at $34.80 an hour.
Right. But what's in your 2019
What's in,
budget?
what's in the 29?
That's it.
Oh, the $36 an hour is averaged into that budget.
So it's an extra $1.20, so what's the total percentage increase?
I couldn't figure that.
Karen,
I can tell you the difference between 5% and the, $36 an hour, we're looking at around $2,433.60 for the year.
Not including FICA and retirement.
Correct.
What's his current hourly rate?
He's back there.
Is he here?
No.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I got his current rate is $33.18. What is it?
7.8%.
282 technically.
Huge increase. Okay, let's look at the other
Okay,
aspects of
so
your budget.
So the amended 2019, we took out the 7th proposed full-time officer. So by deducting that out of the salary line, we have a savings of $41,539.97. And in that, disregarding that, actually taking that 7th officer out gives us a savings of $16,075. And then we figured the health insurance savings is $11,173.56. In lieu of insurance is $1. Short-term disability is a savings of $330.20. FICA Medicare is $17.31. New Hampshire retirement is $5,556.90. That's not in the salary line, however, though. I can continue on from there, because what I've done is I've taken $2,000 out of the training budget, reduced that by $2,000. We reduced the uniform from the proposed 12,000 down to 8, which gives us a saving of 4,000.
Why are you there, Chief? Why a $2,000 increase over last year?
For
Uniforms.
from
6,000, 8,000?
So if I've got 2 vacancies, so you're looking at, well, $3,800 if you wanna factor in the body armor. So 6, do the math,
That's
yeah. So, and that's just to outfit the 2 new officers, let alone further supply the officers that we have right now, so that's why it's at 8,000. The software support, we took out $2,388. I went over that the last board meeting, an explanation for such on that. So that gives us a savings of $41,539.97. So by my calculations, I come up with a 15% increase overall. However, I took up the uncontrolled costs which are your retirement, healthcare, dental, life, short-term disability, FICA, Medicare, costs that I have no control over. And that equates to a 9% increase in 2019 budget in uncontrolled costs. So I deducted that by my 15% and I get 6% overall increase. I further went to the $40,000, even though it's not in my budget. I do wanna make note of it. $40,000 for a cruiser, which we normally get every year. We're not getting this year. We're gonna bypass that. That gives me a 10% savings in the overall town budget, if you will. So if I factor that in, and I did, that gives me a negative 4% increase. So technically, if you factor that $40,000 in, we're down 4% in the budget.
Miscellaneous expenses, why did that go way up that high?
I'm looking right now.
200 to 7,000.
I think,
Two hundred to 7,000.
Yeah, 1.207.
Is that the copier?
yeah,
Yeah,
it covers a
okay.
new
Alright.
12-month lease option for a new copier. Our copier is I think 8 years old, or between 8 and 12 years old, I can't remember off the top of my head. So what we did is we're looking at a lease at $95 a month, plus a $250 new service cost, plus $150 on-time network install, one-time network install. Present copier is over 10 years old and is regularly needing repairs and service. It's difficult to maintain due to the difficulty of getting parts. And that also includes a new camera surveillance recording system, which will be part of the PD's portion of that, at $5,189. So that's why you have the increase there. And that's pretty much what I got.
Okay, so can I ask now?
Absolutely.
Before you do that,
What-
I have two thoughts on my head.
Okay, go ahead.
Just to put it in perspective, even though she's asking for a $2,000 increase in uniforms, this year she's currently spent $7,600 already, so she's over budget anyways in uniforms. And the firearms qualification, they actually spent $7,800 this year, so they had 65, she's actually even under what they've already spent this year, so. No, now have at it.
Well, my question was, what is the average rate, like you did with lieutenant's wages? What's the average rate for officers in the area? Do you have that?
Yes,
What's,
it depends. When I figured,
well, ballpark it for me.
we're looking at, I don't wanna say off the top of my head without looking at the wage study, it's around $24 an hour for an officer with about 4 to 5 years on. But it varies, I mean, the way.
Well, our guys are in that
Yes.
range, right?
Yes.
So what's their average rate per hour at this point?
Last year,
Are we bringing them up to the
Yes,
same?
we are.
Okay. So we're bringing them up to the average
Yes.
in the area of
Yes.
at least 24.
Yes, when I proposed this budget, I looked at what the pay study showed and what our guys were getting. And that's why I proposed a 3% increase for the officers. That's why I proposed a 5% increase for our sergeant, to bring him closer to the average. And also 5% increase for the captain, to bring him closer to the average.
So the average patrol officer is getting the average
Yes.
with the 3%, or they're getting the average plus the 3%?
No, they're getting the average with the
So
3%.
they're getting up to what the
Yes.
going rate is, but with no bonus money, so to speak.
Correct.
And do we plan to address that down the road?
Can you be more specific?
My question is, I don't wanna, cause I know there are opportunities all around us. The sheriff's department comes to mind immediately, is like, they're always trying to grab guys from us. We train them, we outfit them, we give them experience, and then they take them, because they can pay more money. So,
I'm fully
my
aware of
question
that.
is, do we wanna make sure that our guys aren't gonna go somewhere else, cause we've trained them and outfitted them, and they've got experience now, by giving them the correct amount that they should be getting? That's just me saying that to you now, that
Bill,
sounds weird to you
I
probably,
can go back and
but
refine this and increase,
I just
I'll
don't,
give
I'm
them more
just
money,
saying,
I have no problem doing
I
that.
think we wanna make sure.
I have
that
no
we-
problem you doing that either.
Okay.
last year, the board made significant steps to bring
To
the
bring
patrol
them up.
officers in line. And she's also, remember, budgeting a lot of money in overtime, so there's a chance for them to
Get more money.
earn more money, yes.
Okay.
I,
I'll leave it at that.
I hear you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I just don't want to lose guys.
No,
We have to stay.
nor do I.
Nope. What's the board's pleasure? What do you guys wanna do?
I have no problem with the bottom line, we discussed it all.
Make a motion.
Make a motion?
I'll make a motion, police budget, $952,977.60 for the year of 2019.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Bye, sweet.
Good?
Where you going?
What?
Where you going?
No, I did my savings. Kind of how we get more money.
That's gonna help.
I've seen it happen a couple times. Yeah,
This is the PD, right?
that's your problem.
No, this is everybody.
Yeah,
Hang out for.
yeah, I know we're gonna go to
So,
non-public,
yeah,
so
like the guys
if you wouldn't mind just kinda
Yep.
hanging with
Wayne
it.
has something for you.
Oh, hey, Wayne, come on up.
I have one more thing I forgot to discuss with you guys.
Yes.
A week or so ago, down at the store, they had a problem down there, they had a person go walking across the street and almost got hit by a vehicle.
At Lindy's?
At Lindy's.
Okay.
Okay, she was in there, and I believe she went in to talk to them, why ain't there a crosswalk there? Bill and them, I believe they called the state, and the state said it was up to the town of Brentwood. Now, I went in.
Put in
and
a crosswalk for the parking across the street?
a crosswalk going from the parking room across the street. But I come in and I
It's a
talk.
state road, right?
It's a state road. But, what's his name, Greenwood?
Glenn.
Yeah, I believe he's coming in tomorrow, and, talked to Kathy, she told me to talk to him, and find out how Brentwood is, it's a state road. So, I was gonna wait, come in and talk to him, and then from there, I was going up to the state shed that takes care of that, and talk to them guys about it. And I also was gonna talk to, Wayne Gates over the county, because the county went through the same problem that they had over there on the state road.
Oh, and they put up that
They
sign.
put up that sign, I think that solved the problem. And if that's what it's gonna take to do it, then put a sign out there, cars just gotta slow down going through there. You know, the sign on there, crosswalk.
If you put that crosswalk in, then you're gonna restrict the people that are gonna cross on that.
Yeah,
That's what happened to the
That's
county.
why they- that's
That's why
why-
the county didn't do that, cause they restricted them to that one area.
one area.
The sign actually fluctuates. You get to that.
So it's-
Yeah.
So,
Worth a shot.
I wanted to bring that up to you guys, see what you think.
So we have a
That would solve
question,
the problem if we had a sign
we
there.
have
I
a
think-
question from the public about it.
Well, it's been an ongoing issue. I mean, me, myself, I've almost gotten picked off, and different employees almost gotten picked off before. I've had, the middle of the road has actually been the safe zone, not getting killed, run over. Where I've, people have either come off of 125 or coming down the other way towards 125, wide open. And you look left, you look right, you step out, and all of a sudden they're on you. And, I think it's just a normal thing of coming off of 125 or coming towards that, coming by here, and there's a big open stretch, and they just lay on it, and then all of a sudden they're in front of the store.
Coming
So-
down the hill. I would think it's faster coming down the hill going towards one.
Well, I found both. I found both.
Uh,
The people, especially people who don't know the area, they don't know there's a store there, and they come around the corner, and there's, you basically have no. I mean, if you're going,
Yeah, no warning.
it's 40. I think it's 40 miles an hour. If they're laying on 50, next thing you know, boom, you're right in front of the store. It's all
It's
over.
35, isn't it?
I believe it's 35 or 40. I can't remember.
I don't think it's 40. I don't think we have any place that's 40.
Okay.
I think it's 35.
35.
So yeah, they might get up to 40.
But that sign job is more visual, having that sign sticking up there, than having the
Well,
flat
yeah,
crosswalk.
I don't think a
No, you need
The
the
crosswalk's probably not gonna solve it, you're right. I think the
Crosswalk's
science
not gonna
might.
solve it, I don't think.
I think the science.
Can we put a sign
I
on
don't think
state
we can
road?
just put a sign up on a state road without the state saying yes.
I think they need to give you, they need to tell us before we can do anything.
I mean, what's a crosswalk gonna, just to paint a white line across, what's
Yeah,
that gonna?
Problem, it's a state road.
No, I know, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that is an added, you know, even if you put the blinking light, even just to have a crosswalk there, you know, and I know it's not this town's thing to do that. I'm saying I approach the state just to have a crosswalk, just to have somewhere where that pedestrian feels now safer, or they have a zone to be in. Isn't that the purpose of a crosswalk? It's so that a pedestrian is supposed to occupy that area and not step out of it.
What's the speed limit on North Road?
Depends on the area.
Well, down by the
It's
county
20
state,
miles
it's
an hour
20.
when it's blinking, when it's blinking.
Lincoln's only cautionary, it's 30 miles an hour through.
Well, not where you get to the nursing house and the
30 miles an
county.
hour.
It's
Because that's just an
It's
advisory.
a Lincoln cautionary sign for you to do less. It's only a yellow sign,
Right,
it's
it's
not
not the
a
school.
white posted.
It's just recommended.
Yes,
Oh, I thought it was absolute.
30.
I would slow down. PO, speed run. I don't wanna hit somebody coming out of the county.
Alright, yeah, so just let us know, keep us informed what's going on.
Thank you.
What else do we have?
I have a Reefs Across America proclamation declaring December 5th Reefs Across America Day. And I have a request from Joyce to see if anybody of the selectmen would read that proclamation on December 15th at 12 p.m.
David and I'll be there, right?
That should go with the chair.
What day is that?
Saturday.
I might be in Pittsburgh. That day, cause I have to go out there. I'm supposed to do it on the 15th.
Oh, I'll be there.
You can designate someone.
Designate.
I mean, I can try, but I don't know.
I move that we sign the proclamation.
Do I have a second?
I
Second,
mean, David and I will be there. If David doesn't wanna read it, I'll read it.
so it's the 17th.
No, it's
No,
the
it's
15th.
15th, Saturday.
I was going out to Western Mass that weekend, so. So I had a second, all in favor?
We'll be there, Dick.
All of us,
Alright, so.
I'll be there.
Cause that's a Saturday.
all of us should.
Put
I
the
just
wreaths
need to
out.
put it to school
Come down
for
and help
for
with
my
the
mom,
recess.
to get my mom, so.
So one of us will read it.
Okay, so 12:15.
I'll note it down. Yeah, if I'm not there.
If
it's on a Saturday, you'll get it.
Go to you then, it goes this way.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Oh, did you already sign it?
No, it's you.
Whenever I ever sign it?
You want me next year?
What day?
Do you wanna pick a day?
Okay.
What day are you around? The last one, you don't have much time left.
Tuesdays are hard for David. I thought I said Andy, but I was thinking Andy. I said David. I said it's hard for David, but I was thinking Andy. It's been a long
Sure,
time.
it's hard for Dave too, he has the same thing that he works midnight.
But
What
it's a
days?
free food, he'll be here.
What days do you have off?
We moved to somebody.
I have every day off. I have Sandy and Sunday.
He's retired too.
Saturday and Sunday?
What day is a good day to have the lunch?
Any day but Tuesday.
Yeah, see, I
That's
think
coming up later.
because we have the
Tuesday, we
lunch.
have to all be here, so that would, I would think.
But Tuesday, we have to
No,
sleep.
they can't. He can't do Tuesday. He can't do Tuesday. So.
So any day but
The
Tuesday.
people that work midnights have to sleep because we have to be up for the meeting.
Well, when are you here? You're here on Wednesdays, right?
Have a Wednesday, right? And you wanna Bill. Have lunch with Bill.
Bill, you're here on Wednesdays, right?
That's what I was saying.
So you're here the 19th?
Yeah, I'm here.
The next
So do you want to do the 19th?
Perfect.
I don't care.
Perfect.
Do you have enough time to arrange that?
So what are we doing?
Holiday luncheon.
That's
Holiday
great.
luncheon.
Sure. 19th, so I'm here anyways.
This is 2 copies of the contract for Jimmy Show. It's the same contract that he has passed, level funded, $2,000 per month, no mileage.
We've been happy with this job.
We are, and you would charge a lot more money if you went to like an MRI or another private contractor.
Do I have a motion?
Motion
Is it for both?
to both.
It's the same, it's just two
Okay,
copies.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
But it would back to back, like one team leaves, other one starts,
Oh.
no
What
break.
time is that? Oh, and your Christmas party, the senior Christmas party. It's the same time at 11. But that means Andy won't be able to make it to here. He's gonna be tied up over
So
there.
that's a good idea.
The 20th.
So we'll do the 20th.
Does that work?
Did it work well?
Yeah.
Sorry, so we just changed that.
If you want to be the budget committee, then I'll be here for selectmen, then I'll be here for selectmen in the office, and then.
Well, why don't you just
Yeah,
move it?
I did a little research on these tanks.
How much is free, we move it up here?
I have 5 new veterans credits. 3 of them are regular credits and 2 of them are the all veterans credit.
Move all 5.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Alright.
Right in the middle.
With the arrow says sign here.
I was looking at the other section, it said print. But Karen does that for us.
And I have CPN on Thursday. This Thursday and next Thursday. And then I'll be getting to January 3rd.
And I have a meeting with an audio video vendor here on Thursday morning.
I thought I had 6.
There's
and then
6 of
I
them
counted
here,
it
guys.
3
You need to
times.
make another motion, because there were 6 of them.
Good.
I make a motion to approve a single tax credit for that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If she doubts me doubting her about her math abilities on the fly.
Do you want this?
Touche.
On the Suburban, this is on our notes
Suburban
too.
Suburban?
No, the Suburban Gas, they will buy the underground tanks from AmeriGas, for the contract price. I did do a little checking into that. Those tanks that we own that are in the ground are good for 50 to 60 years. The only tanks that are limited to 12 is the ones that are in the grill, or the above ground ones that they have to be re-certified after 12 years. But the ones that are in the ground are good for 50 to 60 years, and that's
Do
soil
we own
conditions.
them? We own them, they
We
don't
own a
have to buy
few,
them.
don't we?
I don't think we own the ones.
We own the one here, don't we?
Wayne thought we owned the one that was underground here and the one at the library. I believe the way that the contract was written for the 3 1,000 tanks at the fire station was that we had to stay with that energy oil for 4 years. We had to lock in with the savings, but after that we were free to change.
Alright, and they're saying, I thought it was $1.65, now it's $1.50.
We dropped it because it's been a week and the market changed.
So,
The only thing that
should
we'll have
we reach out to like some of the other vendors too, or not, to see what their going rates are? Cause what do we have right now?
we're at a variable rate right now. Last year we were locked in at 189.
That's fine.
This year, the market's locked in at 224.
And I know the prices right now are dropping, so.
Yeah, me too, I'm paying
Two something.
223
That's
or
what it is.
230.
Did you guys hedge,
What's that?
where you can lock in, but
Yeah.
it's not guaranteed not to go over, but you get the lower rate or not?
No,
You didn't do that?
You lock in a rate, period.
And it depends how much you use, because
Yeah, it
the less
does
you
change.
use, the more
So a lot of
expensive
times you
it
can
is,
hedge it.
right?
It's like
Two-
the
249.
insurance, it's insurance
249 from Hartman
They're
last
gonna
week.
buy the tanks,
from
and
AmeriGas.
there's no expense to us.
Correct, for the
And
ones
we're
that
gonna
are
get the-
buried.
And how long are we're doing a year? And we don't own any tanks?
Just the ones that are buried.
The ones out here.
So at the, here
So
at
they're
the
the
library, we
ones that
own
we
50 to 60 years.
So buried tanks. The above ground tanks aren't good for that long.
They're 12 years, and that's because they have to get recertified.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they get knocked over, or who knows.
They're
Right.
exposed
But anyways,
to
the
the
question on the
elements.
table is, do we wanna go with that price, do we wanna
Or
do
did you wanna look around and do a survey?
I think we should go with that price, that's a good price.
The only thing we have to do is we have to watch all of the gauges and get to 5% before we can switch. And we've gotta pay a pump out
Right,
inspection
that's
fee,
expensive.
which is $149 per tank.
We don't wanna do
We
that.
don't wanna do that, and they won't So Suburbans had just washed the fuel gauges and they'll be lined up that day.
They'll come out
They'll
and fill
take,
them up, yeah.
they'll take the tanks off, set them aside, and then they'll set their new tanks the same day, as soon as it gets to 5%. Fire station's at 60%, the library's at 40 right now.
So
What's the
who,
town at?
so
No,
the-
reverse.
who monitors
Library's at
that?
40.
one of us will have to do it.
Because I just hate to see us get a freeze up because.
Yeah, really. Well, we just need to make sure somebody's looking at it, so.
The other thing is you pay the pump out fee, which is $149.
Then we.
What's the
tank.
What's the
Per
tank?
That defeats the purpose of going with the lower rate.
What's the town?
And then per location, I believe it's $69. So you're looking at $200 right out the gate, each building.
You wanna designate someone to check the gauges on a regular basis? You can do that.
I mean, my only concern is
I
I hate to see a freeze up because we were getting to 5%.
Well, when the tank get down when they get down to 20, 15, 10, there's, even when it gets down to 5, there's still enough propane in those tanks.
But if you're not paying, you know what I mean, if they're not paying attention, because we're on automatic fill right now, right?
I've put everything on roll call right now,
Oh, everything's on roll call.
Well, because we made change, so
because you
we
made
don't want-
change.
Right.
So then I didn't want any delivery, so the town and the library slated for, well, we were scheduled to get a delivery right after Christmas. The fire station was scheduled to get one this week, but they're at 40%, so I put them on hold pending this meeting.
Yep.
The Grange Hall got a delivery, I approved that last week because they get a delivery every other week to keep that building going. So I don't wanna put
Did
them
you,
off.
did you ask Hartman or anybody else what they?
I priced it out with Hartman last year,
I mean, they've
and
dropped
they were
That was
gonna,
last year.
6
but
cents
they were
in the
gonna
last
charge
week.
us money to switch out all of the tanks.
Oh.
It was gonna cost like 10 or 15,000 to switch everything out,
Oh.
so that just takes
Negated
it out.
it, yeah.
So I'll make a proposal
But if,
that
but
we
if
go
you own the
Suburban.
tanks, if
Go
you
ahead,
own the
sorry.
tanks, why do you have to switch out? I mean,
That's just
We
the
don't.
buried
No, you don't.
tanks.
The buried tanks we don't touch, the above ground we will,
oh, okay.
which AmeriGas is gonna take care of that.
Yep. All Suburbans.
Or Suburban is gonna take care of it from AmeriGas.
So I'll make a motion that we go with Suburban for $159.
Any discussion, anybody wanna talk about it, any more research? Or do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
So we just need to make sure we're monitoring those tanks.
Yeah, somehow we gotta make sure.
Chief,
Yes.
would it be possible for one of your midnight guys to do a survey as they check the town buildings of what propane is at?
Yeah, cause I just hate to have us run out,
Yep.
and then we get a freeze up, and then we got.
Maybe Karen can do like a little
List, a little cheat sheet list?
Yeah, that'd be great.
little list of where they are and,
Send me the information and I'll get it out there.
thanks, Chief.
Alright, I sign this.
Does that work?
You need that?
Yep.
Anybody else need that?
No, just use that. That's the contract for 1 year.
That what?
The 1 year contract.
59.5.
It's on your notes, Steve.
We voted for it already.
Oh, we still have to make a motion for the meeting minutes?
Motion for the regulars last week.
Second.
No, a second.
Abstain.
You weren't here. Oh,
All in favor?
Oh, how quickly we forget.
That side wasn't there.
Yeah, you weren't here.
Both of them.
Okay, so we're good. Meeting minutes. Anything else we have to do?
Table was lifted last week.
Well, no, it was.
Yeah, this way we took it down.
Did we need to do the ten? The services?
Yeah, do you wanna vote on that budget?
Level funded.
Level funded,
Budget for
tan?
Which
So
budget?
moved.
Which budget is
Second.
it?
That's,
Okay.
all in favor?
Second,
Aye.
you second?
Yes,
Aye.
you did, I did.
Anything else?
The other one was the
Well done,
government
Bill,
buildings
thank you.
budget.
So,
Government buildings?
It's the last one that's left. So we increased the custodian wages, that was CNM's cleaning's contract is increasing. The electric was increased $14,000, that's the amount that we pay in revision, so it's offset by the revenue that's received from PSNH by the solar panels generation. Telephone communications was $3,900, so it was an increase of $300 for that's for the new phone line that was added. So total bottom line is 83,882.
So So basically, the really only increase is the phone line and the
And the electricity
$1,000.20 for custodian.
Yeah.
The electricity we
is
were
in and out,
paying someplace else though.
yes.
Okay, so the budget's 83,882.
Correct.
So do I have a motion for
Oh.
discussion? Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? Is that it?
Mine.
Is that all we got? Anything from the public before we go to non-public?
I do.
Yes, sir.
I wanna go back to Wayne's salary issue.
Sure.
Did you ever receive a legal opinion from our attorney regarding,
Yes.
are we obligated for future, or does it stop with the 1 year?
We were not obligated. We
Okay.
weren't obligated to give it the first year because it was just an amendment to the operating budget.
Okay, the second part is, I go along with the, idea that, him, the bald guy had. However, I think it would be pertinent for the board to come up with a salary scale and a job description that's definitive of what the highway superintendent is supposed to do.
The road agent, okay.
The road, that was just be a suggestion to addition to what you've already, agreed to. But I think once you come up with a salary range, then you are indeed serving the public's best interest, because this is what the individual, whoever that may be, is entitled to based on your decision. Thank you.
Cool. Anything else?
Couple of things quickly. First, I'd like the board's help. The minutes from past years are out there online, but the link on the town's website to get to the older minutes hasn't worked for a number of months. So
Archives?
if you search for something related to the town going back to past years, the minutes are out there, but the link on the town website, you go back to 2012, it says click here for archived minutes, and it just doesn't work. You can't get to it. So if that could be fixed, that'd be great. Second question, I have not heard any discussion of the budget on Prescott Road in months and months, and I'm not sure if I just have missed it or if that project is on budget, under budget, over budget, if we've already paid for it and I just missed it when that happened.
We paid for it tonight.
We paid for something tonight, a portion of it tonight.
We paid for.
It was under budget?
The last I checked, but that didn't include the expenses tonight.
I know I just
It
saw
was-
that
I mean, it
number.
was
You
on
paid
track.
Bell and Flynn.
Should be in this one, not in yours.
No, because it's 07 fund, it's not 01 fund.
No. We just had that piece of paper from John that he gave us.
It was in the bills.
It was in the bill.
Yeah, it was in the bills. That was that for, I don't know if that was Prescott.
Didn't have the-
Bell and Flynn.
Yeah, but that's not what the budget is.
Yeah,
No,
but that-
this is half town, half,
That was, I think
half
that was
Prescott
for
Road.
the.
I'll get it.
We'll get an answer for you
We'll have
next
to
week.
get-
Yeah, I'm just, I hadn't heard it discussed on where that was at.
Yeah, I thought I had it. but
And the-
it's-
And then the last question on that topic is, how much did the town actually spend with Du Bois and King for the engineering on the road that wasn't built?
About $78,000.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That was 3 years.
Yeah, it took a while for us to pass that. All right, I'm gonna make a motion that we go into non-public session, chapter 91A,
Good night.
Again?
1 A, B, C, D, E, and I,
Wow.
for, employment and,
It's gonna be a long executive session.
potentially.
You know, like a 3-minute break to go to the bathroom.
Yes, sir. Well, we have to have a motion first to do the non-public.
So moved.
And then we have, do we have a second?
Your motion.
Second.
Okay, do we have a roll call?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right.